Thank you very much.
Iran, Mr. President, have you had any conversations with Iran in the last few days, and are you planning on any?
I have had, and I am planning on it, yeah. We have a lot of very big, very powerful ships sailing to Iran right now, and it would be great if we didn't have to use them.
The Americans have numerous bases, all of which are within range of our medium-range missiles, even no need for long-range ones.
From the Revolutionary Guards to the regular army, Iran's top military leaders are openly challenging Donald Trump, projecting unity and readiness as U.S. pressure builds. Undeterred by U.S. posturing in the Middle East, Iran's army warned that its finger is on the trigger, signaling it is prepared to respond without delay. Tehran issued a fresh warning that even the smallest strike would trigger an immediate response, aiming to deter limited attacks by promising rapid escalation. Iran's army acknowledged that a U.S. attack is possible, but said all eyes are now on what form any action might take and how soon it could come. An Iranian army spokesperson also mocked Trump by claiming the US would miscalculate once again, suggesting Washington is underestimating Iran's ability to hit back. Iran also reiterated its threat that US military bases in the Middle East are prime targets, framing regional facilities as vulnerable pressure points. An Iranian army general warned that any Trump-ordered action would put Israel and other Arab allies on the line, implying retaliation would not be limited to U.S. forces alone.
A military attack against us is possible by the U.S. What we hear in Trump's speech is a continued pressure in any form. Although his statements change frequently, a military strike remains one possible scenario. The broader assessment is that they may eventually resort to military action. If that happens, it appears the Americans will be seeking a rapid, short, lightning-style, and limited operation. The Americans may once again miscalculate, even the smallest strike against Iran, given that we have orders and our fingers on the trigger, would be met with an immediate response to any act of aggression. Such a move could lead to consequences that would not be pleasant to the Americans. The Americans have numerous bases, all of which are within range of our medium-range missiles, even no need for long-range ones. Their positions are within the range of our short-range drones, which enable us to target some of their positions using a wide range of semi-heavy weapons. I state clearly that if the Americans make such a miscalculation, it will certainly not be as quick as Trump imagines, an operation carried out and then, 2 hours later, a tweet saying, "Yes, the operation is over and we will take no action against Iran, and you don't do anything. There is no such a thing at all." And the war would definitely extend across the entire geography of the region, from the Zionist regime to the countries where the United States has military bases near us.
Khamenei's representative within the IRGC also made clear Tehran is ready for war with America, reinforcing the message that the leadership is preparing for a worst-case scenario. Abdollah Haji Sadeki was quoted by Press TV threatening to attack U.S. bases across the Middle East, presenting retaliation as a broad regional campaign. The Khamenei aide claimed all U.S. bases and America's allies in the region would bear the brunt of Trump's actions, tying consequences to the decision-maker in Washington. Khamenei's spokesperson to IRGC Haji Sadeki said, and I quote, "Today, not only one base, but the entire U.S. interests and its regional mercenaries are within our reach. The armed forces have their fingers on the trigger. Any action by the enemy will be met with a devastating response on land and at sea, targeting all American bases in the region. The main source of our deterrence is the unbreakable bond between the nation and the leader. Our strength does not only lie in our equipment, but also in the spirit of the people who do not succumb to global arrogance." Iran has also reportedly begun integrating 1,000 strategic drones into the army's combat units, signaling a shift toward massed unmanned capability for surveillance and strikes. Beyond drones, Tehran is also reportedly working to bolster long-range missile forces, strengthening deterrence by expanding how far it can reach. Iran has also deployed Fateh and Ghadir attack submarines into the Strait of Hormuz, adding an undersea layer to its response toolkit. Reports say the two submarines were positioned strategically close to the U.S. naval fleet in the Middle East, aiming to complicate American operations and planning. Iran's deployments come as Trump's armada encircles Iran across the wider Middle East, increasing the density of U.S. forces in nearby waters and bases. U.S. warships, multiple fighter jet deployments, and missile destroyers are already positioned near Iran, giving Washington both strike reach and defensive coverage. Trump is still keeping multiple options on the table if action against Iran is deemed necessary, maintaining uncertainty as a pressure tactic. Reports say Trump has been presented with ways to deliver a hard-hitting blow to Iran, indicating the administration is reviewing more than symbolic strike packages. The New York Times reported some suggestions include deep strikes on Iran's nuclear and missile sites, raising the possibility of operations aimed at strategic programs. Axios reported Israel is set to share Iran target intelligence with Trump, suggesting Israeli inputs could shape U.S. planning if escalation moves forward. Trump has continued to repeat warnings that Iran must cave and accept a no-nuclear deal with the United States, tying diplomacy to the threat of force. And on January 29th, Trump said talks with Iran had taken place and that more is on the table, signaling that pressure and negotiation may be running in parallel.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.